Greetings, everyone. I'm waiting to hear my Peter Shiloh, Sadie Sundays, but
May I
all the
salute and give
same.
praise to whom all praise are due is the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated Women Auxiliary presents Empress Sadie Saunders.
Well, greetings and blessings to you all, and thank you again, Peter Shiloh, for that very, very warm welcome. We thank you so very much. As I jokingly said last week, that is going to bring us to the ageless moments 20 years from now when we play back that video and we all are looking the same way. So we do pray for that and we wish it's a blessing to us. And to Charlie this evening, I want to thank you so very much for bringing the show together. You know, Charlie's our engineer. He puts on the show every Sunday tirelessly. And, we just do it for the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated Women Auxiliary Local 26. And we love our audience this evening. So we are coming to you live and alive. This is your host, Sadie Gomez of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated Women's Auxiliary Local 26. And as you know, some of you all know, I am also the president of Local 26, and this is my pleasure. I come to you and my family on this kind of cool Sunday evening. I was kind of expecting a little different sort of evening, but here we are, and we welcome each and everyone to the studio and to our wonderful listening viewers out of the studio. I want to take this time to welcome, of course, Peter Shadow to the studio. He was here with us earlier on. We're not seeing him right now, but we want to welcome him. Peter Shiloh to studio. Hi, how are we doing? And we want to welcome also to the studio the ones who are not here with us. I know last week some people trying to get in, but they take in the show on the YouTube. So I want to welcome Donna Gomez to the studio. She's here. We hope, Sister Desma, we enjoy you so much last week. We welcome you again. If you can make the time to come on. And of course, we send a big, big shout out to our Big Papa. We love you in the show. If you do have time to come on, please do so. For this evening, we are running a really wonderful show. As I often say, our show is one whereby we take things from under the rug and we examine it. Most things that people do not wish to discuss is placed under the rug. What we do here, we take it from under the rug, we examine it, and we sometimes put it back. And sometimes we have to put some things in the closet as we discovered. So this is what has brought us to our Sunday evening topic and our program, which we enjoyed so much last Sunday with the family. Our program today, we are telling stories. We are telling stories because story time, a part of our culture in our African tradition, whereby ancient remedies, recipes, healing were passed down in stories. And that's the way even our African spirituality was preserved and kept untainted away from, you know, those people. So we are here today to tell also of events, things that have happened that has changed our life, things that we have heard and has been so unbelievable that if told, one will not believe it. But yet, what we are telling here is the truth. And if one should tell a story for whatever reason they choose to, and do not wish to call names, dates, places, we are here to prevent any disasters. We are here to preserve privacy of individuals. Now, as I said, if a story is really juicy and you know you can drop it and you can call names and nothing's going to happen, you can do so. You're free to do so because the truth will set you free. It's a platform whereby, we ask that other members of the locals of the Ethiopian World Federation feel free to participate as we join from strength to strength, and you too can tell a story. But stories has been often told as well for learning experiences. Stories has been told as far as the days of the Bible when parables were given and ones had to figure out how to apply such a parable into your life or such a story, even. And on this platform, we are going to tell stories that are going to help you open your mind and think. We want to tell a few stories that perhaps will be quite comical, but yet true. It's a light and breezy moment where we establish truth on this side simply because it's a place whereby, just in case nobody wants to listen, you can come right over here. You know, we take our gossip seriously, but we take the truth even more so. So this evening, I want to welcome each and everyone who has joined us in the studio and a really pleasant evening. And thank you for coming over to join with the family. So as I said, it's going to be story time. As I thought about what I should say or what I should reflect on for story time, I was thinking quite carefully. Who else is in the studio? Okay. I was thinking quite carefully what I should possibly say or how I should probably enter into the stories that I would like to bring. I give careful thought to it. As I said, stories have often been told from since we were children. So as I was reflecting upon the story, I would like to give you all today. This story is a story to apply to our life. So it's tell in a tale of long ago where we told stories through something we call Nancy stories. These stories, even though they might not have involved real people, they have been real as we apply them to our life. So I want to tell my first story this evening. As again I said, this is Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, Local 26, Women Auxiliary, and your host, Sadi Gomez, coming to you live. For those who have joined us, we are thankful and we welcome each and every one. We thank Desmond for coming on. We thank our Peter Shadow for coming on always, and of course Charlie. So we'll give thanks. And for those who are listening who are out there, we welcome each and every one of you this evening. It's story time. Get your stories ready. So I want to tell this first story. This is a story that I have heard when I was a child, I would say. So children, their interpretation of things, or even when they hear things, it can make your eyes really grow big. But there are some stories which are told, and even though they may be children's stories, they are quite applicable in your life. Also, you never understood the story until you have grown. So this is one of the stories I found to be so. So since it's a Nancy story, we're gonna have fun by saying once upon a time. This will protect all living participants, but we name calling. So we go once upon a time, it's light and breezy, take your notes. There was in the jungle alligator, Mr. Alligator, well respected, I imagine an alligator, well respected. He had his wife and family, very well respected. And he was friend with this monkey in the forest. So one day, Mistress Alligator fell sick, and Mr. Alligator took her to the doctor. So the doctor said to him, your wife is very ill. So, of course, he was quite devastated to hear the news. So he asked him what it is I can do to heal my wife so that she can be better again and, of course, not to die. So the doctor said to him, your wife can live, but what she needs is a monkey liver soup. So, of course, Mr. Alligator thought long and hard. And, of course, he don't want his wife to die. So he left there, took his wife back home, and decided to go down the river. When he was going down the river, he saw his friend Mr. Monkey. So of course he called out to him, hey, Mr. Monkey. So Mr. Monkey, of course, go to him. That's their friends, they're chatting. So Mr. Monkey said to him, Mr. Alligator, I would like for you to give me a ride down the river. So Mr. Alligator said, no problem, jump on my back. They're cool, maybe that something happens. So halfway down the stream, and they're going down the river, Mr. Alligator said to Mr. Monkey, you know, Mr. Monkey, I'm having a problem. So he said, what happened? He says, my wife. She said, how's your wife? He said, well, she's near death. I really want to save her. So Mr. Monkey said, what do you need to save her? So Mr. Alligator said to Mr. Monkey, the doctor said I need a monkey liver soup, and that will save my wife. So on the way down the river, the monkey said to Mr. Alligator, Mr. Alligator, I think I can help you with that problem. So he said, yeah. He said, yes. He said, because just this morning, my liver was giving trouble. And I took it out and I wash it and I have it in the line. But if you take me back up the stream, I can go and get it for you. So Mr. Alligator decided he will do so. So for your tickling ears, I'm leaving you that story, which I enjoyed quite a lot as a child, being just 6 years old. I only figure out the story until I was probably about 40. So this is what I want to leave with you. I hope you do understand. And I'm going to leave you a little space to give comments. So let's see about my first story. Any questions on my first story? Well, we've been listening along. That's a great story. Seeing that there was no comment on the story, we are here this evening and we would let the floor be open for my other guests who are here to tell their stories. Then I'll come right back in because I don't want my audience to not be tickled or laughed. But this is a story about life, and this is a story, as I said, you listen to very carefully and then you could apply it to your life. So I want to welcome as this evening Peter Shiloh to the show. Welcome, Peter Shiloh. What would you like to tell us this evening? Yeah, you can go, and I don't know if I have to mute.
Greetings. Blessings and greetings.
Can I come on? Sunday show.
Blessings and greetings. Yes. Respect and
Okay,
honor.
I have to relocate just a little bit, but blessings and greetings. Welcome.
Respect and honor to each and everyone. Fans, engineer, and host. Enough love and respect. Yes. Let's say story time. Are you hearing me?
Yes, being any loud, I didn't want to disturb you. It's a story time.
Okay,
True story
okay. Story
time.
time. Story time.
Stories.
Yes. We have a lot of story in Jamaica, reality and comically, but this one I'm gonna give you is a realistic one, but it actually is a reality story. There was this boy from a family who loved to stay out late at night, and he's so afraid of duppies or ghosts. He's very, very afraid, but he loves to stay out at night. One night, he went out to a horror movie named Scream Dracula Scream. But what he does when he's going home at night, he's so afraid. His lane is so dark, pitch dark, and he has a gate that entrance just have two posts. So what happened? They had planned for him that night, and they roped up the posts way with ropes. And when the movie was over now, he is the type of man now, he stay from the top of the lane and he would holler or yell, open the door, I'm coming. He would yell, open the door, I'm coming. So with a burst of speed from the top of the lane, he flew right, come and and land right into the rope, and the rope pitched him back. So he said, Lord God, don't believe me. The man, Lord God, go sleep me down. Lord God, don't believe me. And from that night, that man don't stay out late again. It was a wicked act, but it's a story comical. The man ball out, don't lick me down. Lord God, don't lick me down. He never stays out late again that night, for real. He learned his lesson. If you are so afraid, why staying out late? You know, I can't see through that, but it's a reality. Real reality. I have the experience of this reality. Yes, blessed love. I think that would be my first story.
Okay, so I thank you very much, Shiloh, for that story. And as you said, it's a real story, and we are sharing real events of stories, things that we have experienced, or things that we have been told, or things that we really know about. That if we tell someone it's so strange, they may not believe us. And we are also telling the type of stories that we can learn from, stories we can learn from with everyday life. So we want to open the panel for those who are here this evening as we welcome you to tell your story about things that you have experienced. So I'm giving you time to come on the floor for the next person. Welcome.
All right, so I got a story that I was told. I was told, you were told, we all were told, and I think that the story is fitting by this being Easter Sunday.
Yes.
And the story that we were told was that when Jesus died, the scripture says that for 3 days, as Jonah, as Jonah was in the belly of the whale, so shall the Son of Man be in Hades for 3 days and 3 nights, and then he would rise.
Uh-huh.
My question is based off that story, how do we get 3 days and 3 nights from a Friday afternoon to an early Sunday morning? How does that work? That's my question I put on the table today from that story. 3 days and 3 nights from a Friday afternoon before the sun go down, taking him off the cross, and then it said that he raised early on Sunday morning. So my question is, how do we get 3 days and 3 nights from a Friday afternoon to an early Sunday morning before the sun comes up? I'll leave that to the floor.
Very interesting, Charlie, because you seem to tickle my fancy with such a story since, as you said, it had been so timely. And we noticed that it is indeed pagan Easter, where they celebrate the death of Christ and the risen Christ. And we come to a point whereby it's 3 days and 3 nights. But when we mathematically try to evaluate how could it be possible, we know we are one day short and or one day late and a dollar short, as we probably would say. Or maybe that's where the saying came about, just like All Fools Day had a quite historical event. Eh? So it's not possible for you to die on Friday, buried, and rise on Sunday, and it is 3 days. So they are, in fact, missing a day. And for a long time, Catholics have been fooled along with other things that they have been fooled about. So this, we hope that, we don't hurt anybody's feelings, but we just want people to know that this is not mathematically possible. So, Charlie, where we want to go with it? On the rabbit hole.
But we're sweeping it from under the rug.
It's right because we are checking days, we are checking time. But importantly enough as well, I have come to observe if it is, we give thanks, one die on a certain date, like has been recording in the book of deaths, and also we have registry of births, how come it fluctuates from year to year about the day you die? If you
About the
would
day
die
that.
10th of
Right,
June, you should stay there on the 10th of June until, you
right,
know.
right. It will be Easter will be the same date every year, but it's not.
Right,
Sometimes it's in March, sometimes it's in April. So
correct,
how does that happen? How is that calculated? I mean, I know how they calculate it, but the way that they calculate it, it even says to me that they're not sure, and that these are all looks like stories that were made up, but then get hit, uh, take hits when you try to historically solidify the story, because the empirical evidence surrounding it do not add up. It don't match. So the best we got a from a Friday afternoon, we got a Friday evening, a Saturday morning, a Saturday night, and then a Sunday morning. So we got a
right.
day and a night missing in that story. So I've often wondered about that, and I think and the reason for it being on different days is because what they tried to do is the Christian church wanted to separate the holiday from the Jewish holiday and Passover, right? So they wanted to make a difference between the Hebrew teaching and the Christian teaching. So they wanted to move the date. And so what they decided was that Easter would be the first Sunday after the full moon in the spring equinox. So the first Sunday after the full moon in the spring equinox don't always show up on the same day. So whatever day it shows up, that's the day they determined to be Easter.
Which, of
Now,
course, if you should follow story, as you are going on with story, the very word mention of the word spring equinox, you have dragged us right down the pagan street, and it
I'm
had
sorry.
nothing to do with
I'm sorry. I
itself.
didn't mean to say. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say spring equinox. I don't get
No, well,
nobody.
you needed to go right there. Well, actually, spring equinox, but the winter solstice that pagans celebrate, and then the spring equinox. You're right, because which was really the feast of Easter, which was really about the rabbit and the egg, and that's the story of Easter.
Right, and that's another story that that's another element in the story I think is very interesting, because we got millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people convinced that a rabbit can lay chicken eggs.
I never even thought about that. I was so intrigued by the chocolates that look like eggs. I forget rabbit. Does rabbit lay eggs or they just make rabbits?
We got rabbits laying chicken eggs in this holiday.
When we speak about bizarre stories, and here's a story that's been told for years upon years that is believed by many, and to see the ridiculousness that we have exposed today, a rabbit laying a chicken egg. Has anybody thought about this before? Or it's just us?
Well, I don't know.
Well, now our one viewers going to find out rabbit don't lay eggs, and they might be devastated.
They don't lay eggs at all, right?
Must be an AI rabbit.
I got the special rabbit. That must be Roger Rabbit. They're doing all that.
Rabbit laying eggs. Must be an AI act, man.
So we got we got 3 days. We got people that's moving in 3 days and 3 nights in a day and a half, and we got rabbits that's laying chicken eggs, and then we
Wow.
got a holiday that show up on a different day every year. So we just all confused, and we just buy into anything they tell us, and we just run with it, and we ran
Well,
with it for so many years.
it has been story time for a very long time because a lot of things started once upon a time and they live
Right,
happy ever after. And we're quite comforted with it because we did
right,
not want the truth. Because maybe the truth would probably hurt. But when we realize Easter has nothing to do with Christ, it's not just a story, but a waking up as well. Because
Right.
now that story has a big story to go with it, except it has got to do with Christ. It's a
Right.
real good story. I'm telling you, it starts with the orgies and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They they want to take away Christ from us, and Christ came from the beginning, right? And this Christ where they talking about, they don't know nothing about Christ. God, Jah is love, You see, Jah is love. So they are not dealing with love, so they're not dealing with Jah nor God. You understand? God is love. In any language you want to take it, God is love. No matter what name you want to call him, he's just love. Right? And what these pagan and these fascists and these pirate, what they are doing, they want to bury our culture, the real culture, the righteous culture of the world, the Rastaman culture. You understand the Ethiopian culture. Right now, if you want to correct everything biblically, you have to check the Ethiopian Bible. You understand? That Bible never change.
Right.
So what you're saying right now is really true. They come with their version. You
Right.
understand?
Right.
They come with their version to influence I and take I land from I. So we love God and Jesus. We now go fight back. That's what is happening. We don't even have an army to defend Africa. To show you how we God. We are so God. We love God and we are in love with God. So we don't want to kill anybody. And you understand? We don't want, we just want equal rights and justice, love and truth. Imagine people coming into our land to take our land from us, invade our country, killing our people, destroying our land, and we still in a church business with them. And oh God, God and Jesus, oh my God, man, we too God. We full of too much love. We need to stand up for our rights now, man. Yeah, yeah, for real.
Well, to Peter Shiloh, this book was also a story that was told, and for many years, our grandparents, great grandparents, and many of our that went forth within that 400-year tradition or transition where we were brutally taken from our land, and that story was told. That story is one of the greatest stories I would say, as Charlie mentioned, because just to think the fact that there was a white Jesus that was placed on your wall for hundreds of years, and that story was believed to be true. We try to establish now what it is with stories, because stories can be very bewitching and it can be very brainwashing, even though it's not true. So we examine the nature of a story being told that has been so profound that the world leaned in the direction of the way the story was told, believing the character, and this went on for hundreds of years. Until now, a waking up period, and we realize that Caesar Borgia is not Christ. But that story was painted on the walls of the Roman Catholic Church, embedded in the minds of many of the followers. 1 billion of them, if you should ask me, before, the scandal with the boys, and then it dropped to about 3, 4 million. And then we know that something was wrong. But before that, it was one of the most powerful religious organization in the world. And every Sunday, they told a story from the Red Book, not the Bible, because the Catholics, they have their own Bible. And don't tell me I'm wrong. I went to Catholic school. I was very Catholic at one time. That's
Right.
another story.
They do have their own Bible, and their Bible don't include the Old Testament, the Catholic Bible. It's just basically the New Testament, and starting with the Gospels, in the New Testament, or what they call the New Covenant, starting with the Gospels, or what I call the God spells, and these stories have been retold and retold and retold and never examined. And we think about where we got these teachings from, where we got this information from. Most of us, our families, we got this information from the slave owners, right? And that's how they told the stories, and we regurgitated them. We just believed them. We never questioned them, because even when we first got them, we couldn't read. It was illegal
Exactly.
for us to read
Exactly.
and write. So you have to ask yourself why? Why would they make laws? Why would they put laws on the books? Go through the pain of writing bills and having bills go through the legislature and having a bill be approved by Congress and then have the bill approved by the Senate, all to say that black people is against the law for them to be educated. Why?
Yes. Educate. Yeah, because
Because
education is a power.
there's a power and they wanted to keep us in the dark and keep
Yes.
information from
Yeah,
us.
they didn't want us to be educated. Back in Jamaica, one party create an organization to educate the people, and the next one shut it down. Nobody want to call any names. But
Right.
every time we make a move to educate our people, our nation, our race, and our people, there are always demons and serpents coming to fight it down.
Right.
Shut it down.
So
Yeah.
you have to ask yourself why? Why? Why do they do that? Why? Why? What is it about black people that they have this animosity towards, this hatred towards, this jealousy towards? Why is it? I asked people a couple of weeks ago. I was teaching a class, and I asked the question: who are you as a black person? Who are you that they would make these laws? Who are you that they would change the maps, change the names on the maps, change the places on the maps? Who are you that they would go through all of that trouble? Who are you that they
Burn,
would try to
burn.
separate you from your families and change your name and cause you to forget your identity and forget who you are? Why?
But they burn our church, our school. They burn. They try to hide our history. Burn. You
Right,
understand? Because
right,
they try to change up creation from the
right.
original way which the Almighty left it. Man and a woman is the unity. Understand? You understand? Man and woman create life. You know. So I would say it's a force. But it's not a good force. I would say that is a dark
I would say
force.
that it's jealousy. It's the jealousy and the recognition that God is within us. It's the jealousy
Sinful.
and the
They,
recognition that we are the blueprint and that everything comes
yes.
from
Yes.
us and that we have
Yes. Yes.
superpowers. They
Yes.
recognize the superpowers in us that we don't even recognize in ourselves. They see what we've done after 400 years of slavery and 400 years of free labor. We've been able to, once free, catch up to where they at. That
Do,
pisses them off. That's why they get
yes.
up. That's why they get mad if they see you with a nice car. They get upset if they see
Yes.
you with a nice home. They get upset if they see you with some money, or you think you this, or you think you
Let's
uppity.
see with a nice Empress or a nice wife.
Right.
Uh,
Anything that looks like success, or anything that looks like success, they are jealous of that because they've seen what we have been able to do
brother,
with nothing
brother,
to
I
bring
I
to where
can
we are
I,
today.
I can relate to the jealousy. You know what happened? The Sphinx is in Africa. When
Right,
Napoleon went to Africa, he didn't know that we were so advanced in everything. You
right.
understand? In the Sphinx, remember the African create that. So he
Yes.
didn't even know that we were so advanced in we call it carvings and sculpture. He was so bad mind and jealous that he shut up. He ordered his army to shut up the nose of the Sphinx. That's why the Sphinx doesn't have any nose today. Jealousy, bad mind, Napoleon.
Jealousy. Right.
Yeah, man,
Because
Napoleon
they
get
don't want
jealous.
history to know, they didn't want us to know that we were able to create such great feats because it
Yes,
it
yes,
challenges their theory of superiority. Okay.
yes, yes.
It slaps their theory of superiority right in their face. They recognize we cannot let these niggas do nothing. We let them in the White House, they turn the country around. We let them in sports, they take over the sports. You can't even think about some of these white sports that used to be now without thinking about black faces. When you say tennis, you think about Venus and Serena. When you say golf, you think about Tiger Woods. When you say baseball, you think about Willie Mays and Hank Aaron and all of these fellas. Why? Because the moment
Dominant.
the,
We are
the
the
moment
dominant race,
dominant all
brother.
the time, the moment we've given the
Dominant
opportunity to do
race.
something. And it's a natural dominance. It's a natural dominance.
Everything.
Listen,
They
we have
suck
so
our
much
energy to
power
survive.
and so much influence that I tell people if our young men sag their pants and pull their pants down over their behind, the whole world will start pulling their pants down. Okay? Now everybody walking around with their pants hanging off their behind. If young black men take their baseball cap and turn it backwards, everybody will do it. So it's
Copycats.
it's it's and they emanate or imitate whatever it is that we do. Why? Because we are the non-ether people. We have the divinity, but then our DNA, okay, to do these things through the power and through the source of the pineal gland. And we won't even get into the pineal gland of the our Caucasian counterparts. However, y'all told me to come up with a story that was unbelievable but true. So now, there you go.
So we thank you so much, very much, Charlie. But while you're talking about Grace and tennis, the brother Ash said to remember him. I speak to them
Right,
at times.
right. The first one to break the barrier. The first one to break the barrier. But my point is, whatever you allow us to do,
We shine.
we shine. We shine. I don't care what it is, whether it's sports, whether it's entertainment. All right, white boys, all the rednecks right now is scared to death because they about to lose country music. Okay,
Oh my gosh.
but they didn't really happen from the start because it happened with a black fella was one of the first big country music stars. All right, and so now we just get back in it, and we see when we get back in it, we taking it over. The country music that I hear now is being sang by black people.
I told you,
Right?
Cowboy Carter.
Dominant man. Dominant port. Well, dominant sea.
Cowboy Carter showed it a number on them.
Cowboy Carter.
That girl Beyonce. She ride
Right?
them like she. I'm telling you, like she didn't see them.
Shame on her.
She was
To
all
come
over them.
to
Ride them, cowboy.
show
Cowgirl.
such excellence.
Cowgirl Bay.
But anyway, so these are the stories that they told us, and we bought them. We went along with them, and but over time we began to wake up to different truths. We begin to acknowledge that something about this don't make sense. And as the while it don't make sense, and then you have a preponderance of evidence, you have no choice but to go that way. It's like, it's like when we first back in the 80s, when we first start being introduced to the theory or the ideal that this Jesus that they're talking about, that they're telling us about, that's on my mother wall at the velvet painting between Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy and them dogs playing cards, right? Y'all
Oh yeah.
remember? You remember them velvet paintings that we had, and we begin to question like
And
this
the
Jesus that they talking about had to be black or at least of color, right? So I remember when that information started coming out, everyone was even scared to even talk about it. They
oh
whisper
yeah.
it, right? But now it's become common knowledge. It's become so much common knowledge to now white folks are saying, well, what do it matter? Do it really matter? Hell yeah, it matter. Yeah, you had him as a white boy all of this time. Now it don't matter.
Well, Putin said it matter, okay? So it matters.
So it matters. That's it. Putin said it. That settles it.
That's it. So, speaking of stories and the story you just given us, and I would like to reflect upon the fact that Christianity was one of the greatest stories and lies ever told, but to see something that you felt the need to beat people into it to believe it, it can really be such a good story. Because really and truly, these stories, if we should really go deep into, let's say, the religious factor of some of these stories, now that we end up part of the celebration, Christianity was once a story told that much people did not believe, but they were beaten into it, as well as the Muslim story. That Muslim story with Allah, people were beaten into that story. I'm speaking about they were beaten and taken away from their African spirituality to believe such a tale. So therefore, from stories, we see ones we have been so compound that in order to make a generation or a nation or people believe, let's whip the story into them. So some stories that are just told, but are whipped into.
Right.
I
Right.
welcome you.
And some of these stories was that you um hold on. Some of these stories was that have been fabricated for so long from the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
Until we've just taken them at face value for such a long time, and we've never challenged them. Now we don't challenge them because a lot of this information we got in our homes, and it was told to us by our loved ones, by our mothers, by our fathers, by uncles and aunties, and grandmamas and them, and they love us. They we know that they would die for us, and they would never ever give us anything that would harm us. They would never tell us anything wrong. Well, I would say, but they would never do it intentionally.
Right.
Okay,
They would
they would never do it intentionally. All right, we want to give a shout out to those that we see that's listening in through YouTube. We have our brother Otis, I guess it's brother Otis, and then we have Emily, Emily's Plays. Greetings to all of those our listeners that are on YouTube. All right, so
So
we
I want to
want
give
to.
that to Otis. Otis is coming from the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. That's my cousin Otis. I welcome you. And I love all those drawings you bring with the beautiful flowers. So keep on doing beautifying the world. We thank you so very much. And feel free one day to join in. We give thanks. And to Emily, we thank you so very much too for showing up. And as Charlie said, to all our beautiful listeners out there. So as we continue our show, Charlie, what were you saying?
Well, we want to get some more people in here, but I was just saying that this information that we got, we have not challenged it. And when we challenge it, we find that there are holes in the story when we go to examine it historically. So if there's holes in the story historically, uh, have we been looking at it from the wrong angle? Have we misinterpreted it? You know, because as I
Well,
said, we got it from our parents and our loved ones, and we know that they would never tell us anything wrong. But what if it was told to them wrong? And the person that they got it from, it was told wrong to them, and so on and so on and so on. And this misinformation continued to get passed down through generations and to come out to where we are now. Mm-hmm.
but what I'm seeing as well, as you said, the story was told to them wrong. And I would like to reinforce my statement. Some stories were beaten into you wrong. Because
Absolutely.
that's very
Absolutely.
good.
We forget about the Crusades. We act like the
Oh, oh,
Crusades never
no,
happened.
I'm going. Let's
Right?
go down there, please. I can still see the hooded ones and the horsebacks. Come on now,
Right.
let's go there.
Right. I mean, have you noticed they do have crosses on? They got crosses on their hoods.
Yes.
Okay. We so
You're
what I
riding
mean,
with fear
right.
when they ride to town you in fear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
And yeah, sorry, go ahead.
they pray to the same God that they told us to pray to. So how is that? We both pray to the same God, but one of those groups is fighting against me to kill me. Now, the person that's fighting against me to kill me is his father and grandfather in them that gave us this this gospel.
This false gospel doctrine.
Right. So is it so are we following this gospel? How could you say you love God and hate your neighbor? So how could you say you love God but want to kill me only because of the color of my skin? Or
Then
even
you can.
because of the jealousy because you recognize the greatness that was in me. Okay. You know, when we think about talk about the greatness that was in us, when we think about the places that have been destroyed, that have been established by black people. All right, I know we talk about Tulsa, we talk about Black Wall Street, we talk about Greenwood, we talk about other these places, but we haven't started really having the conversation about how whole towns were flooded, okay, to get rid of black communities. We don't talk about the fact that what we call Central Park was an all black district that they killed everybody and moved everybody in and buried them under the ground and then put up this park that we go and we walk through and talk about how lovely the trees are, how lovely the the cherry blossoms are. And we don't even realize we're walking over the grave of our ancestors.
Such a story to be told, Charlie. We have the right day for it. We would like it to continue because really, as the season is coming up and people go there with their big towels and sheet and lounge and lay down and relax, we would like to tell the story, Charlie. So I'm really happy Charlie's get into it. That Central Park story. Charlie, we waiting. We with you.
I mean, no, listen, I would just tell everybody to do your history, do your studies. You will find out what happened and what happened with Central Park. And they got a thing right over there, a memorial,
A burial ground, yeah.
the burial ground, the African burial ground. And it explains all of this. So it's not anything that I'm making up, but we don't know about it because we
Oh,
don't study our history. We don't study where we come from. We're not concerned. We as a people, we're really not concerned with where we come from. We're really not concerned about you and I being connected and being one because they have been masterful at keeping us separated. They have been masterful of keeping us preoccupied. They have been masterful with keeping our heads into our cell phones, into our iPhones, and into our devices, and filling our heads with their programming. Okay, and they're constantly programming, even now through the algorithms that feed you certain information to keep you believing and feeling a certain way, creating energy, and most times negative energy. It's almost like there's a source of something somewhere, maybe I don't know, that feed off of negative energy. I don't know.
AI. It's
Don't
called
get
AI.
don't get me started.
Oh, you could. We have time. We paid for the whole evening. We would not run past the 2 hours, 41 minutes that we did last time because my phone did not to full battery. But we had Desmond earlier. Did she show up? Or Desmond, you on here with us this evening?
Desmond's with us. She's still here. Hey,
Desmond, we were.
How are you?
I'm happy to do this.
Good. I was here. I was just listening. The person who was speaking just now, his some of his facts is actually right. Um, Nobody not supposed to tell us about us. We supposed to know about us. We don't do research, and that's it. I don't have to wait and let the white man or the red man know that Christ is black. No, we supposed to do our research. We ought to know that. Just because of look at the slavery will tell us well and what we've been through that Christ was black. We don't have to wait until somebody say or somebody put a picture to know. We ought to know that. So and again, as I think Charlie's his name, we don't research our history.
Of
We
course
listen
not.
to what we listen to what people say and this one say and the media say. We don't do no research at all. And we just depend on what somebody say. That is the same thing we we discussed last week. We always have to wait until somebody say. and not what we say or what God say. It's always somebody say this and somebody say that. What about we say? What about our research?
So true. I guess we're too lazy and we're just leading to acceptance. Because once you start to do your research and you get onto the Bible, because we know the word of God is true, there is a sovereign being that we must serve, the one and only true and living God. But the story has been turned and twisted in so many ways. Except if you do your research, just thinking about the very story, and you see the region from which the story was, it was Africa. They tried to give a story like Middle East and different things which came about later. But as Sister Desmond have just said, do our things are written historically that cannot be changed. That's why Putin has the news and he decided he will break the news. But a story was told whereby we had to hold on to this Jesus. We are not saying of God left because there's good God fearing people who had to believe that this white Jesus was in fact Christ. And
But
when go ahead, sister.
we have a choice. You don't, nobody don't put something in your plate and say you have to eat it. You have a choice.
Yes. And we have free will as well.
We have free will. So if somebody puts something in my plate and say, well, this is cake, and I know in my heart it's orange, why would I eat the cake? Why I accept the, unless I have a gun over my head or something. But even though you have a gun over your head or whatever the situation is, at some point in your life, you know that orange is good because with this orange, that you in your gut feeling, you know that orange is true. And by honoring the orange, you know you get in substance from the orange. Why would you believe it's cake?
But well, again, acceptance of things or doing research, which is really come down to pure laziness. But we have seen these things on the line. I'm hoping that I have enough battery power to run the show because I know I'm low. But all the same, we are seeing
Um,
things just to accept has been laziness because
all
research
right. You
time.
don't, yeah, you don't have, listen, there's a lot of things out there, a lot of information, who is black, white, green, or whatever. But you have a choice not to accept it or not.
You do have a
Okay,
choice.
they say, right, they say Jesus was gay, they say he married, he have children, he have a wife, or whatever the situation is. It's up to you to do your research. It's up to you to ask a question in the spirit to find out certain things. Not everything that somebody say. You have to be your own investigator and find out. Well, I heard this. I'm wondering if this is true. Or I wanted to do my research or whatever the situation is. But most of us we just lay back and we accept whatever they dish out. We eat.
Well, spiritually, there's sheep, and that means shepherd. And woe be unto the shepherd that did not feed his flock. So we see, as I said earlier on, there's some good God-fearing people who sometimes they can't read. Let's just think of, some people, how they are, you know, compromised with it. But
Right.
then we had a leader who's, that's why it's written, woe unto the shepherd that did not feed his flock, because it's a responsibility of man now to investigate the matter of God's to his flock. So when he stand up at the park, and ones that go there on Sundays or Saturdays or whatever day they go, that they too will be fed. So it's also a duty of the preacher man or the leader to keep sure that come to him or talk. Because we know there's some people who whatever is coming at when research they're given wrong information. So how unfair that is over the years. So, to continue with the story time, we are looking at stories, but we are looking at events that are told to us that are true and unbelievable. But now here we are examining events told to us, biblical events, historical events. Are they were So we look at those things as we see stories, and we just see as well. Life itself is a story, a long story to be told from day one as you entered into this part of town, and yet you have the in between, which is a story, because you would see. when one passes, you would see born June 21st, 1937, die January 3rd, 2025. But yet, we will not see anything else. 2 years are mentioned when is our life story is being told. But the day you were born is one date, and that's a date, and the date that you leave this part of the world is a given date. But there is a story that was told, a story that was lived in between those two dates. And that is very important when we observe our life story. What do we do in between those dates, and how would our story be told? This is very important as we continue life and we see that we are here. A story is being written every day in our life. Some stories, as I said, we really cannot tell them, and some stories we tell for the teaching purposes. So we give our listening audience, our in-house audience, a time to tell a story, one that can enlighten someone, teach someone, and in some cases, one you just want to tell because you just got to get it off your chest, sort of. You just want to tell somebody, you just want to relieve yourself of it. This is indeed a place. There's no need to call names, dates, places, people. But as I said, if you wish to just tell the story and names and date doesn't matter, we accept it here too. We tell the truth. Just bring the truth. But if the truth is really too bizarre or stranger than fiction, we can always say, once upon a time. So here we are, and the floor is open for those who are here with us to tell another story. Good evening to everyone, and welcome. Story time. Don't leave us falling in such long airspace. So we could put people on spot. Anybody else would like to tell a story? How about I'm calling out Shiloh to tell a story. Shiloh, you know you probably can have a story that would be helpful to us this evening. Would you like to tell a story? Well, I don't know if you're on mute, but we're not hearing you.
Let
There's
me go
no
into my
audio coming
archive.
from the throne.
Oh, okay. When you come off your throne and come down to the regular commoners, can you take off your mic?
He don't know what he's
Shiloh,
going to
Shiloh, are you
Bless her now.
we know that you're sitting back in a throne somewhere in Africa, perhaps. You have to disclose
Yes,
your country.
Africa. Well, I have a very long story, but the story
We
is
take
kind
it.
of real. Mm, most of my stories are reality, I'm going to speak about ghetto youth victimization politically. What ghetto youth has to go through, you know, especially black. When you're black, when you're black in Jamaica, or you're not anywhere in the world, you've been victimized, political victimization. This is what all ghetto youth has to go through. For instance, in Jamaica right now, when one party wins and the other lose, the other side go through a lot of tribulation. For instance, when the new government comes in, the opposition suffers a lot. You apply for a job, you're not gonna get through. If you are coming from the opposition era, you're not gonna get through. No care how bright you is, no care how bright or how much degree you have, you're not gonna get through. And this is so hard. And ghetto youths who are educated, and just because of your area code where you lives, where you live, have a lot to do with you all over the world. If you're coming from a ghetto area view or suburban or It's so hard for you to fit into the system. You go and you look job, you're just not getting through. And you don't realize that you're going through a victimization politically. That's what all ghetto youth go through. Political victimization through these demons and these serpents. You understand? I even had an experience of people sending people to where war is. You understand me? What I'm saying is in Jamaica, politically, when two communities warring against each other, you are not to be seen down there as you'll be killed. People taking up people and sending them down there to expose them to such danger. And it's like nothing. It's like a cartoon. Yeah, it's like cartoon for them. So I'm saying all ghetto youth big up in yourself because these are the things ghetto youth have to go through. That's why you see they go for the whatever it is after trying all these angles and being victimized. That's why these things happen to the ghetto youth, and because they have been going through so much victimization that's not even the government, not the humanitarian people don't realize what is happening in Jamaica. This is a very serious and crucial thing which is happening. You understand? Yes. And the humanitarian people them need to look into this story. This is a real story which is going on. And these things must be stopped. Again, people come in and you set up things for help humanity. Just because it's not your government putting you tear it down. In Jamaica, there was an institution set up to educate the people. And the next opposition come and tear it down. So they don't want black people to have any education. When we are educated, they can treat us like fools and like clowns. So I utter them sound because these things are alive and still happening. And we need to look into them and stop them because we're building up a nation, we're not destroying our nation. You understand? Yeah. We're building and we're not destroying. We're supposed to be creating future for the generation which is coming after us and make life better and easier for them. So all these things, it's a story, but it's a real story, my people. It's a real story. Most ghetto youths have been victimized. You go to get a job just because you're from the opposition. You cannot get a job because with what's happening now, the new government that coming is looking out for his new people. You understand? So you get abandoned. A lot of youth have get abandoned and have to turn gunman and criminal to all them situations. Yeah. But we give thanks. So we are pre righteousness and a pre the Almighty. Yeah, man, enough love and respect.
Well, we give thanks for our Shiloh who's given us a real story, and the story is quite a painful story if we should get to the truth of the story and the real of the story. And this story is headline Politics in Jamaica, which about 30 years when I heard what really goes on, I was so broken-hearted when I realized what the whole structure of the politics. So this story, one that has been told, one that is very delicate, but one that is often told in whispers, simply because of the brutal nature of the story being told in its true form. So we tickle and we tease and we tantalize a little bit to help people else understand that there is the story that is very much with us. And for some reason, whether, you know, main reason being fear, and for other reasons of people don't want to be involved anymore and want to just separate themselves, this story is not told. But this story is a real story. A lot of people don't know about it. But if you should be told this story, as I said, it can bring about violence. And this is a true story of why this is not told. As to why it is like that, only the real players involved can tell you. And it is so sinister as I said, almost in whispers. But it's truth. It is one of the stories we probably might have to put back under the rug because, hmm, it's that kind. We might have to take a pretty skeleton from the closet instead, one more scandalous. But that political story, painful as it seems, is told, and we pray about it that one day could be rectified because it's simple a case of black on black crime that was designed by other forces that had ulterior motive as to why a country should be led under such disgust. So we not going to touch the politics too much unless the politicians want to come here and play house with us. We happy to do that. But for this evening, we want to welcome another guest. I think I saw Yata Yao on the show, and he's still here with us. Yata is one of the musicians from the musical unit of Local 26. And Yata, if you're here with us, welcome. Well, you've got to unmute your mic if you want to say hello, but all the same, we are saying hello to those who join us in house, in studio. We love to have you here. We love for you to give your truths about what's happening in the warm, cozy place of the family unit. And then, of course, we have those listening audience who are out there, and there's some on near and dear to us as well. They want to bring their stories as well. As I said, we want to Hail up to my sister Donna, she's always listening. To my other sister Khadijah. When I hail up Rosanna, she's listening. To my sister Laurel as well. They're here with us. And each and everyone who I perhaps did not remember this given time. We like to just give love and share love to ones as they pass through. And also, as we're doing this, we want to remember that our anniversary concert of the Ethiopian World Federation Local 26 musical unit will be held in July 18th of the year 2026. But before that, we are busy doing fundraisers, and we are structuring a talent search, looking for fresh talent, looking to build also the federation and to tell more people about what we do at Local 26. And this talent search, the first one, we like to be it to be held on this platform. We're trying to stabilize with getting our info out that the ones waiting to, audition, we will do so for the preliminary period on this platform. So we're going to have quite a musical moment in a little while from now, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, as soon as I get, directives from the musical director over there in 26, Mr. Peter Shiloh. He will give us information. He got to meet up with his group, and they're going to discuss what they're going to do concerning the talent search. And they're all welcome to come here and share this platform, which is the Woman Auxiliary Local 26 platform with your host, Sadie Gomez. I welcome you all, each and every one. Today we are talking about stories, we are talking about events that occur. And while we were talking, we did mention in this time, historical time of the 3 day risen days of the Christ, which we are still trying to understand mathematically, how Friday and Sunday morning, when Mary Magdalene saw him, could have been 3 days. So if story be true, because some things are told for certain purposes. And we and our great grandparents and some of our ancestors who have gone by within the transatlantic slaves, when they had forgotten or beaten out of the African spirituality, some of them would have had to listen to this story and believe it. And this story was passed on even to the last 20 years perhaps, whereby, after a lot of children start being awoke, they start telling their parents, please take down the white Jesus. But it was a story that was told and believed and was told for hundreds of years to be true. This very story is not true. There is, in fact, a God, and there's a lineage of the children of His Majesty as well. And they are melanated folks. So, therefore, we have to reclaim our story, which history has lied to us. So his story is not really our story. So we at this point in story time have to establish what the true story is, especially that concerns the Black people of the world and the Black people period. We have had a great civilization long before a lot of stories were told, a lot of tales were told. We have had our story, which was in the days where we know we were the cradle of civilization. That story is yet to be told, because when that story is told in its entirety or even in its truth, we are going to hurt a lot of people. But this story, with enough research, we urge melanated folks to please do your history. Some things are still written in the books, some things are still written in old books, and some of the libraries are there. And now that you have internet, you have it right in the palm of your hands. It is so easy. Much easier in my days. I'm not going to say how old I am now because you're going to try to label me. We had to go into the library. We had to be very nice to the librarian to get 3 books so we can get our homework done. Now you're just go on Google, or sorry, you're just going on ChatGPT and you're just doing your homework. So I can know that's a different story I'm telling you. But stories were told for teachings. Stories were told for learning experiences. And stories were also told to wake us up. There was a story that was told many time ago, one that we have read if we do read our Bible, and the story concerned Nathan the prophet and David. Now David, king of Israel, you know, as we would say in today's term, a real womanizer. You know, he had quite a passion for wives and concubines, you know, he was that type of king. Well, we love King David, our ancestor, but a story was told to him one day. And this story was so profound. David, in his understanding, or rather in a standing, did not quite get the story. Now, if time allows me for the evening, I will bring the story, but I would tickle your fancy now to give you a bit of the story so you all can do your own research. It helps my listening audience to understand what research is. So for this story time, I'm going to let you know King David was once told a story by Prophet Nathan. This story was told in such a way of a parable. The story was true, except the fact that the story was about David. And when David heard the story, he cannot even believe. So he passed a judgment on the person that the story actually was about. So when we do our research, we will do David and that story the next time. But that story led David to write the 51st Psalm. That I will give you as much so you'll have a clue. Of course, he said, have mercy upon me, O God, according to thy loving kindness. According to the multitude of thy tender mercies, blot out my transgression. But a psalm was written because a certain story was told, because a certain event took place. One that could teach us a story for our life. So we love stories. We enjoy stories, and I particularly enjoy ancient stories. Ones that are told way, way before time. Ones that can be applied to our heart, to our mind, and to our lives. That can be so profound that we shall never forget it. And there are some stories like that upon the world today, stories that are really unforgettable. There are some stories that we are living right now that we can't even believe it to be true. And this is the type of evening we're having. So anyone else would like to join in for a story? Well, Charlie, it seems that we're not going to run a long, long night this night like the last time, simply because my phone is low battery and I'm not too near home. So we had a wonderful evening with those coming up with us this evening. We're going to have a longer evening as we continue. I am just going to run it one more time to see if anybody has a profound story they want to share with us this evening, because we're going to have to wrap up early just because my phone is on low battery and I really did forget my charger. And that's a true story as well. And we want to thank each and everyone who came with us this evening, who joined in with us, who was happy to listen with us. And some days we have a long, long evening, and some days it's shorter. But my phone is really compromised, and I don't have my charger with me. And of course, you can always join us next week, Sunday evening, at the same time, same place. This is Sadi Gomez of Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated. We came to you live and alive. And this evening, we just wanted to tell a short story. And we want to just say one love and bless to each and every one. Charlie, you can take us out with that lovely song from our
I may say let a
musical.
big praise to whom all praise our due is the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated Women Auxiliary presents Empress Sadi Saunders.